So here we are with our next video, and as you can see, I'm sporting a brand new haircut, finally. Long overdue. And now you're not going to say what you said earlier. Today, we talk about boundaries, the necessity of boundaries, and what boundaries are about. But I just want to say, before we get into that, I want to say this. We don't do these videos about marriage and about creating a godly marriage because we know it all, because we've experienced it all, because we have this 30-year marriage. You know, we've been together for ages. We've gone through everything in all the seasons, though I can tell you this, in 2 years, almost 2. It's been what? How long since we were engaged? To just about almost 2 years, 4 months, 5 months since our engagement until now. We've gone through several stages, but we're not sharing from that. We're sharing this just from our hearts, as to something we've experienced, what works for us, what we see, because we see a need. Because we really see a need with marriages. Yeah. And we see that people need this. And marriages are in need of work. It is a time of great stress, and in the time of great stress, relationships suffer. That's why we do this. That's why we ask you to share it. That's why we put it out there. And make no mistake, it challenges us tremendously. Every time we do this, it brings up some points for us to discuss, and we're like, okay, how about this? How about that? Because sometimes you've said something, or you've put something in place when things were different than now. It needs to be reviewed.
Yes.
But there needs to be merit.
Yeah.
And it's from that and that place and that our hearts that we share what we share.
Yeah. Yes, I just want to add that remember there's no such thing as a perfect marriage. And the only thing that make a marriage work is 2 people deciding we're going to make this work. Doesn't matter what the challenge is, we are going to make this work. Yes. Yeah. If your marriage is going through a difficult time and one wants to work on it and
the other does not.
And the other does not, then you're not going to accomplish anything. So all it needs is 2 people. All a marriage needs is 2 people deciding we are going to make this work, no matter what.
And don't go to yeah, but you see, what if, no, don't go there. Yeah. See the 2 people.
Yeah.
And work on that. Work with that. It takes 2. Take it to heart and change. Be willing to work on it. Be willing to do something to save your marriage, to make your marriage better. You know, why must the marriage be in trouble before we do something?
Exactly.
To keep it out of trouble is why you do what you do.
Yes.
To not get your marriage into troubled waters is why you have values, why you have boundaries, why you have principles that guide you, why you spend time with one another, why you communicate, why you talk, is so that you do not steer into stormy waters. Yeah. But should that happen, and it may, values, principles, boundaries, communication, these things are what will see you through.
Yeah.
That's not a time to want to do it.
Yes.
It's not too late. It's just very late in the game.
Yeah, I think that's why I see a boundary as a guardrail. So a boundary is not a set of rules and regulations. Don't do that, don't do that.
Yeah.
It's
not
punishment. Yes, no. It's the same with when you have children. When you have small children, you set a boundary about, what you may touch because it may hurt you. So you're not allowed to touch. Don't put your hand on a warm stove plate, you are going to burn. Yeah. So you set a boundary to protect that child. Then the same with teenagers. You have to have boundaries with your teenagers. The one can't say, you must be home at 10 o'clock and the mother says no, or the father says, no, man, you can be back at 12 o'clock. Boundaries is there to protect you. And the same with marriage. when you have boundaries
Yes.
in your marriage,
Yeah.
it's to protect your
To
marriage.
nurture.
Yes, before something happens.
That's
You
it.
can't end up in a situation and now, okay, where's the boundary now? Then something already happened. And it's to protect your marriage, to
See,
guard
boundaries
your
create
marriage.
security. Why do you
Yes.
fence something?
Yeah.
To secure it.
Yeah.
Why do you have well, those of us who live in South Africa, we have perimeter walls.
Yeah.
Almost everywhere you see, people fence their yards. Why? To protect.
Yeah.
To keep out and to keep in.
Yes.
And that's why you have boundaries in your marriage. That's
Yeah.
why you have personal boundaries.
Exactly.
You have to set some
Yes.
personal boundaries to protect yourself.
Yes.
But you don't set personal boundaries to protect from your spouse.
No.
But you have certain personal boundaries even in your marriage.
Yes.
But boundaries protect, boundaries nurture, boundaries define.
And protect your
It
covenant.
gives great security for
covenant
both
love.
parties.
Yes. Yeah.
Boundaries really nurture intimacy.
Yes, that's true.
Protects it. So, Laetitia,
Yeah.
which is first?
So I think what we can maybe do is talk you through some of the boundaries we have for our own marriage. Now you have to discover your own. This is our boundaries for our marriage. And the first thing is that we both decide. Now these boundaries we already had when we were engaged, not married yet. We sat and we decided, where are we going to set this boundary? And as we grew in our relationship and even in our marriage, you can add to what boundaries do you feel is important and then discuss it and set up your own boundaries. Now, the first one we had was never to degrade the opposite gender.
Yes.
So, do you want to have some examples?
Yeah, like a joke. We tell these jokes about men and women. You know, sometimes you'll be standing around a braai place, and you'll be at a braai place, and you're around the fire as men, and some jokes are shared, women are like this, and then everybody laughs. Or just saying something, or just saying to your spouse, alle vrouens is dieselfde. All women are the same.
Yeah.
That's just typical men. And men are just like this, and men are just like that. We have found great value in not sharing those jokes, not laughing at those jokes, not amongst ourselves to one another, and not on the outside. And sometimes they are very funny. Make no mistake, some of them are funny. But you see, what you're doing is you're creating with your words and you're influencing a mindset.
Yes.
We help one another. We correct one another. We do that sometimes. Then we correct one another.
Yes. Yeah.
Then she would say to me, do you really mean that? Or I would say to her, no, hold on a moment. What are you saying?
Remember the boundary.
Yeah, and then we fix it.
Yeah, and even if your husband or your wife is not with you, and another man make a joke about a woman, or he's shared something that happened at his house, his home,
degrades his wife.
Yes,
or vice versa.
You are not in agreement with that.
No,
you don't laugh and elaborate on that.
It shows value for your spouse, value for your marriage.
Yeah,
and it's not like we it's not like we don't have a sense of humor.
Oh, we do.
Oh, we do. We laugh a lot, trust me. And we laugh mostly at ourselves.
Yeah.
And we happen to think ourselves very funny. I've always said to him, we were not believers. Well, not if we did not believe what we do, we may have done reality TV. I believe it would have been a hit show. Because it can get very funny. But it's just that we've decided we will show value for one another. That's why never degrade the opposite gender.
Yes.
Never go to bed angry.
Yes.
It's the next one.
But we're not going to elaborate on that, because if you do want to know more about this, we discussed this in a previous video that we did last week or the week before.
2 videos back. Dealing with conflict.
Yes.
Yeah.
About not going to bed angry. And then the third one, that is not an easy topic for many, but we never get into a car alone with the opposite gender unless And you
Yeah,
can...
see, the unless is not a reason to move the boundary, and it's not the occasion. As a general rule, we don't.
Yes. We don't travel in a
that's
car with someone from the opposite gender
Exactly.
alone.
Yeah. Why not? Because we're afraid something goes. It's no. Because no. Because here's the thing. It is because we have decided that is trust between us. It means I never have to worry about whether she was in a car with another man, because she doesn't travel in a car with another man. Neither do I with a woman. But at the time we made this rule, my work situation was different. Now I have a female colleague. I happen to be the manager. She reports to me. Now I cannot say that it may never happen that we have to go somewhere. We're not many in the office. We may have to attend a workshop. So we just recently, just before we did this video, I said to her, look, that rule we need to discuss. Because I suddenly also realized there are men and women in positions of work, gender. Not work, not gender. Corporate environment.
Yes.
It's not always that simple. What happens if there is an appointment I have to travel with my boss? She happens to be a woman. Do we travel in separate cars from Johannesburg to Pretoria? It's a course in Bloemfontein we have to attend. How do we do this? And here's what we've decided. And here's what we would say. Transparency.
Yes.
We spoke about it.
Yeah.
And we agreed. I would tell her.
Yeah.
She would tell me. I would know she's traveling with so-and-so. This is why. This is where they're going. I will know when they arrive. She will know when we leave. If we stop somewhere, she will know. Why? So there never be an issue where somebody says, well, I see your husband with so-and-so and
yes,
they were at that place and
yes. So
do
now,
they know?
Yeah, when I'm informed, I can say, oh no, I know about it.
Now we're not saying you need to do that. We found it a good rule.
Yeah.
We found it in our instance it works for us.
Yes.
And now, it does not mean that now the boundary moves. The boundary stays in place. It just means there are times when the situation, where the scenario dictates the exception.
Yes.
But she will know. There's transparency. There'll never be a reason for her to worry.
Yes. And for instance, let's say he's in a meeting,
Yes.
his phone is on silent. I stand somewhere with a flat tire and I can't get hold of him. What do I do?
And you can't get hold of a friend, female, to come pick you up. What do? You may well phone a male friend.
Or phone his
Or
male
I may
friend.
phone the friend. Say, look, please, will you pick up my wife?
Yeah.
But then I'll know.
Then you
She'll
will
know.
Yes.
The circumstance dictates the exception.
Yeah.
The rule, the boundary, not rule, I don't want to call them rules. The boundary stays in place.
Yes.
So it's an attitude of my heart. That's how I show respect for my wife, and she shows respect for me.
Yes.
That we keep that boundary.
Yes.
Because we travel together in a car.
Yeah. And the same with sitting with someone from the opposite gender in a coffee shop, alone in a coffee shop. The same.
Yeah, meeting in a coffee shop for a social occasion. Yeah, we were just having a chat and we were just having a coffee. We don't do that.
No, we don't.
That doesn't give rise. It's a funny thing. She may just be having an off day. Somebody walks past and says, oh, I see your husband was in a coffee shop with so-and-so. I didn't know they were friends. And she's like, what do you mean they were in what coffee shop? Where?
Yeah.
No, they were sitting in Mug and Bean. Now there's a scenario planted. Now just a week. Listen, these things happen. Just 3 days later, somebody says to her, I see your husband and so. Same woman. Happens to be the same woman, but quite friendly. The other day, they were in the shopping centre together. Meanwhile, we may just have met in passing, and there may not have happened nothing might have happened in the coffee shop. Now another seed is sown.
Yeah.
See where it goes?
Yes.
So we've decided we don't do that.
Yeah, and
she never has occasion to worry about.
Yes,
I don't meet women there.
We believe that when you do something like that, you open a door.
That's it.
Every infidelity happened with just being friends, just being friends.
Few men or women planned it.
Yes,
it just happened.
It's never planned. It just happened. No.
So don't put yourself in a situation where a personal bond, where a personal connection can take place.
Yes.
Because you work. In my work environment, I work mostly with women. but I have boundaries.
Yeah.
I have clear boundaries in terms of where we meet, how we meet, when we meet, what rules of engagement is there. And I don't move them.
And what you talk about.
Yes.
Yes.
And I keep them. I keep them in
Yeah.
place.
Yes.
That way, she knows. And I know when she goes, I never have to worry about that. I never have to be concerned about that.
Yeah. Then the next thing.
We don't kiss other people when we greet. Our lips are meant for one another.
Yeah.
I find it, this can sometimes get a little bit difficult. Awkward, especially for me, because I was never married before for many years. But I still had boundaries. I've always had boundaries. So for me, it's far easier in this scenario.
Yeah.
But sometimes you find that you greet a woman, especially, and they lean forward because they're used to kissing on the cheek. I used to hate it when I was little. All these tunnies that come.
Oh, but this is another matter.
Sometimes you have family that does that.
Yeah.
But as a general rule, we
don't.
greet sideways. We would just do this.
Yeah.
Just like that. Just go there.
Yes.
No body contact.
Yeah.
No frontal.
Yes.
No kissing.
Yes.
Just no kissing.
Yes. And if we are in a position where this woman just comes and she hugs him, he just doesn't hug back.
Yeah, you
don't respond to
You
that.
don't respond.
Yes.
You immediately make that distance.
Yes.
They get the message very quickly. I did that even when I was not married yet.
Yeah.
So I still do that. And if you slip up, fix it.
Yes.
Fix it.
I think, you see, it's easier from the one giving it. I have a boundary when I have to greet a man. I immediately switch my body sideways, and if he hugs, he's on my side. But then that was my decision.
Yeah.
When a woman comes and she just hugs you, you're like,
And sometimes find that she comes and she wants to, she
Yes,
she doesn't mean anything. We're not talking a come on.
Yeah.
We're just talking, that's how some people greet. I turn my cheek.
Yeah.
Immediately I turn my head sideways.
Yeah.
Thereafter, it doesn't happen again.
Yes.
There's not a repeat. She
Yes.
knows.
Yeah.
I don't.
And then a very, very important boundary we have that we think is important for all marriages. We have free access to each other's cell phones, emails, passwords, social media.
Yes.
We don't hide anything.
I
we
can pick up her phone at any time. She can pick up my phone at any time.
Yeah.
And she knows all my WhatsApps, everything that's going on there, it's all there. She asks me anything, I show her. She wants to know anything, it's available. No secrets.
Marriage thrives in transparency and withers in secrecy. And
on that note, we just want to add as well,
Yeah.
something I learned when I got married. So previously as a single man, I had my cell phone next to the bed. It's there. It's always there. Here, we decided, and we've had it as a rule. No cell phones, no laptops, no TV in the bedroom.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing.
We don't even charge our phones in our bedroom.
It gets charged in the study or in the lounge or wherever may be the case, wherever you find a free plug.
Yes.
Especially with load shedding, you want to keep everything charged, so everything's permanently on charge, just to make sure there is no problem.
Yeah. Yes, it's not good for intimacy.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Remember, marriage thrives in transparency and withers in secrecy.
Yes. And then we do not counsel, we coach, but never someone from the opposite gender. If we decide to coach someone, then we do it together.
Yeah, if there's somebody from the opposite gender, it
Yes.
would be together.
Yes.
We would both be present.
Yes.
And that is just, again, because in such a situation, it's easy for a personal bond to form. So be very careful. If a woman wants to confide something in you, make space.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not on. It's not on. It's not on. It's something else when you're speaking in on a spiritual level, something when she's sharing her feelings and her thoughts and her problems with you. Be careful. Especially a man as well with a woman. Be careful.
Yeah.
It is it establishes a relationship, an unhealthy element to the relationship. It creates occasion. Don't give occasion. What does, I think somewhere in Corinthians, Paul writes, he says, don't give occasion to the devil. Don't give occasion to the enemy.
Yeah.
Don't give occasion to life, man. Don't feed the flesh.
Yes.
Don't feed the flesh.
Yeah.
Keep that boundary in place.
Yes.
Remember, boundaries are to protect, to nurture, to keep out and keep in. It is to create security.
Yes.
Especially for your wife. She feels very secure in boundaries. But a man as well. Boundaries even where dress is concerned. That's an important one. These days especially. It's important where dress is concerned. Am I happy? There's load shedding, but it's fine. We'll finish.
We are in South Africa.
Yeah, so that happens to be load shedding. If you don't know what load shedding is and you Google it, you'll read all about it. It's all over. So here's what we do where dress is concerned, for instance. That she would never wear something that makes me feel embarrassed or awkward, vice versa.
Yes.
And that I can say to her, look, I don't like that. And she can say to me, look, I don't like that. That's a bit short.
But we never had that.
No, we never had that. But I mean, other couples may.
Yeah.
You know, that you just dress in a manner that honors your spouse. That portrays that you're a married woman or a married man.
Yes. Yeah.
And that you protect one. And certain things are meant for one another, not for everybody else.
Yes.
I, for one, would not want every man to be looking at my wife going, wow. I don't mind if she's beautiful and they comment on it. I mind when she's showing what belongs to me.
Yeah. Yes.
I think you should mind as a husband.
Yeah.
I think a wife should mind not to show that. That's a boundary. Just in terms of that.
Yes.
But we don't have. I mean, we got married.
Yeah, but
I
it
think
does
younger
happen.
couples maybe have got a bigger challenge in that respect, especially with fashion, with style, and how fashionably do you want to dress? There's a line.
Yeah.
There's a boundary that you need to put in place. And the sooner you decide this, the better.
Yes.
Up front even.
So how about a boundary concerning children, parents, in-laws?
Simple. A boundary there, what we're talking, this is a subject all on its own. It can get very wide. For sake of this video, this discussion we're having about boundaries, it's a boundary you will put in place to protect one another,
Yes.
to protect the marriage, to protect intimacy. And one boundary, for instance, that you put in place with children, with parents, and with in-laws is, I do not discuss my wife with them. Do not discuss your spouse with your children.
Yes. Very important.
Do not discuss. Do not moan. Do not say bad things. Do not say negative things.
Yeah.
Don't be, when you're angry and emotional, share it with your kids or your parents or your in-laws for that matter.
Again, that's also degrading.
Yes.
Degrading your spouse.
That's it. Don't do that. That's a boundary. That we protect one another in that respect.
Yes.
That we have boundaries in terms of our time. I know with kids it's more difficult, but you still have to find out where is your boundary in terms of your children's access to your bedroom and to you at all hours. You need to teach them what is acceptable, unacceptable. I know that as they're younger, it's more difficult. And boundaries will change as they grow older and so. But it is important that you protect your time as well.
Yes, and you teach your children.
And your time together. Find a way. And also where your parents are concerned. Mom, Dad can't just phone 9 o'clock at night and we leave everything and jump up and answer the phone. No, we're busy now.
And
We're eating now.
And also don't just show up.
Don't just show up. Respect one
Yes.
another. Now, for
Yeah.
other families, it may be different. With us, don't just show up. Arrange. Tell beforehand. We both grew up in houses where that was done anyway.
Yes.
So we never had that. But I know there are families that are different. Find what works for you. These boundaries are what works for us.
Yes.
We feel they're beneficial to you. Some you may want to take like this, but you will define them for your marriage. But have boundaries.
Yes.
Put them in place.
Yes.
The sooner, the better. That's it for boundaries.
Yeah.
Anything else, Laetitia?
No.
That's
I
it?
said what I have on my heart.
So until next time, shalom.
Shalom.